Daniel Dubois just beat Anthony Joshua, and the psychological downfall of Anthony Joshua has well and truly completed. From the Andy Ruiz fight, he has not been psychologically switched on. We saw after the Usyk fight, he had a burst out and, he said some stuff he shouldn't have said. And now coming into this fight, I want to talk about how Joshua looked and, his body language and what he was doing in the ring that just wasn't right. First of all, the ring walk. Coming in, he didn't look as confident. At the first time when I watched it through, I thought he was looking good with because I was listening to the music of the Rocky anthem. But watching it back, I saw he didn't look confident. Compared to Daniel Dubois, who was switched on and wasn't really thinking about it too much, but just confident and going into the fight. Anthony Joshua looked like he was just going to war. And not in like a good way where he was going to batter him in. He didn't want to go. He was just, thinking, oh, should I go? Should I walk out? What should I do? Overthinking every single thing. And he didn't look as confident as he should have. He didn't look that confident. Even in the ring when they were announcing him. Michael Buffer announcing Daniel Dubois. He was jumping around, going forward to the middle of the ring, looking Joshua in the eye, looking like he wanted to be there and win. When he called out Anthony Joshua, he was trying to take his robe off, he said, "Now put it back on." Probably because he wanted to feel comforted. He didn't look confident. And then coming in straight into the first round, he was shaky. For me, looking at his legs, he was on the back foot. He looked like he was, someone who was just going into the first time sparring and he didn't want to do it. And Joshua's hands were always low. His hands were never above his chest. And that was really, tactically, the downfall of him. His hands were always low, down to his chest. And that's why Daniel Dubois landed so many punches. He just literally wasn't right in any single way. Psychologically, he wasn't there. He was gone. Mentally, he just didn't want to fight. And tactically, I don't know what Ben Davison were telling him, but he didn't do a good job because his hands were low. Either he told him and he didn't do it, or he told him the wrong thing because his hands were low. I've never seen someone's hands so low. And it was obvious that was going to happen. If you've seen his left hand with his jab hand, his lead hand was literally like to his belly nearly. And for Daniel Dubois, that's literally the perfect chance to land an overhand right, which he did countless many times. In the first round, he caught him twice on the temple, and that's what started the legs getting gone for Joshua. And from that first round, he was completely gone. At the end of the round, he obviously caught him with that chin overhand shot because Joshua's hands were too low. And his legs went, and he got saved by the bell. And from that punch, he was gone. He never really recovered from that. Going into the second and third round, when he got downed, he was doing that pumping his chest thing. It just all wasn't right. And it wasn't right for Joshua. I don't know if he couldn't implement the tactics right because he got caught so badly, or because he wasn't mentally right in the first place, added on to the fact that he got caught. It all just didn't go to plan. And when he caught Daniel Dubois, he was making amateur mistakes. He'd come rushing in with an overhand right, and Daniel Dubois, all he had to do was just duck under it and catch him again. And that's all that happened. Daniel Dubois literally caught him, I'd say, got 15 shots that could have put any man down. I'm going to give respect to Joshua for showing heart, because he showed heart. He could have quit at any time, but he didn't. But still, Daniel Dubois, he just put a beating on him. Joshua had nothing to come back with, even coming into that fifth round when Joshua caught him. You don't rush in like that. No, if you catch someone, even in amateur boxing, you won't do that. Especially in heavyweight boxing, you do not do that when you're across the ring from someone who can, with one punch, knock you down. What he should have done, when he caught him, kept the centre of the ring, kept him on the jab, and then finished the round, and he'd maybe have won that round. And then he'd have come back out in the sixth round, Dubois thinking, oh, my chance has gone, and Joshua has a new lease of life, and he has a bit more time to recover from the shots in the first few rounds. But no, Joshua comes rushing in and goes for the knockout. And when he comes in, he gets caught once, which I don't know why Joshua didn't always think, right, let's stay back, let's keep on the end of my jab. But no, he thought, after he even got caught from that, which Daniel Dubois thinking, oh, he's rushing in here, all I have to do is catch him. Joshua came back in again, he tried to land that uppercut, and Daniel Dubois just saw it coming and landed the overhand that finished the fight. And I want to talk about the referee for a second, because From the first round, I think he gave Daniel Dubois 2 warnings for clashing heads, and totally wrong. I didn't like the referee at all. I think he was biased to AJ, especially when he got knocked down. I think he was in the third. He got literally saved by the bell, and he should have been out, and the ref should have stopped it many times, but he didn't. The Willie Hutchinson Josh Boazzi fight, one of the judges scored it wrong. The officiating wasn't the best throughout the night, to be honest. It kind of reminded me of the fucking YouTube boxing, to be fair. He had every chance to come back, and he just didn't implement it. And I think it was a combination of during the fight and coming into it, he wasn't in the right mental state. And then when he got caught from Daniel Dubois, whilst not being switched on in the first place, he also got caught in the temple, so he couldn't think. And his legs were gone, and he was never going to recover for the rest of the fight. Daniel Dubois did amazingly, and honestly, I've never seen someone so fast and sharp. And the gas tank of Daniel Dubois really surprised me, because it was a lot better than most people thought. And it was better than AJ's somehow. And I heard reports on the Thursday before the fight, Daniel Dubois were doing hill sprints, while Joshua finished training probably 4 days before that. So Daniel Dubois, right up until the fight, he knew stamina was key, because he's been a lot of times before in his fights where he's gassed out. So he knew what he had to do and he implemented it. He didn't think about it too much. Oh no, I need to wait a week, so I need to be fully recovered. He just went, right, I'm going to train as hard as I can, stop a few days before, and go into the fight the sharpest, the best, and fittest I have ever been. And it all went right for Daniel Dubois. Couldn't have had anything better to do with that fight. Honestly, it was all perfect for him. For Joshua, I don't know what happened. I think there's some stuff that we're not being told coming into the fight, because honestly, that day of the fight night, he didn't look right. And then when he got caught, none of the tactics went. Ben Davidson's and Lee Wiley didn't have any answers for him. I don't know, you could hear him in the corner, really. They weren't really giving him much advice, and Joshua didn't look like he was taking it in either. But fair play to Daniel Dubois, but if he does fight anyone else, like Fury and Usyk, I would give Fury and Usyk the win, because they are so mentally sharp and their boxing IQ is so high. When Joshua's in the ring, he isn't the smartest boxer. He's pretty smart, but he's not like switched on so well that he can see everything's coming. I mean, Joshua literally rushing in with his lead and low. If that was a Usyk would probably do what he did in the first fight. Obviously, Daniel Dubois has matured a bit more, and he's a bit better. But if I had to give Usyk versus Dubois, I think I'd give it to Usyk. Fury, I still think I'd give it to Fury, because we've always seen Joshua's not always mentally switched on in a fight. But Fury and Usyk, they always are. And Fury can always recover from a punch. We've seen that in the Wilder fights and many fights before. When he goes down, he gets back up. Joshua, we don't really see that much. If he goes down, we've seen it in the Ruiz fight. When he gets up, he's not the same at all. And even in the Klitschko fight, when he had obviously better durability, because he hadn't been caught as much, it took him 4 rounds to recover. And he only just did against a 42-year-old Vladimir Klitschko. Joshua was aging coming into the fight, and the durability was already gone. So he's never going to be able to recover from Daniel Dubois' punches, which were great. And Daniel Dubois' jab throughout the whole night was amazing. Joshua just was gone. Everything was wrong for him that night. He wasn't switched on. Ben Davidson and Lee Wiley, terrible tactics, because he just wasn't boxing right. For a 2-time heavyweight champion in the world, he was boxing like an amateur. Not even an amateur. A low-level journeyman pro. That's how he was boxing, with his lead and low. And he did come for a fight. He didn't come for a boxing match. He came for a fight. But if you want to fight, you got to fight properly. And Daniel Dubois did, and Joshua just didn't. Moving on, I think Joshua, he might need to retire. All depends. I think if he takes the rematch, he takes the rematch. And he could win. We never know if he has a better training camp. But I think Daniel Dubois, he's only getting better. He is only getting better. But the Fury and Usyk fights, they are debatable, because Fury and Usyk are totally different to Joshua. Joshua's a physical specimen, and he trains right, and he's strong. Usyk and Fury, their skill is their boxing IQ and their brains. They think about every single decision they make. Usyk, boxing IQ is off the charts, and he knows everything to do with boxing. There ain't anything about boxing Usyk doesn't know, and I'd give Usyk, I think Usyk could beat him for the second time. I'd give him more of a chance of against Fury, but still I think Fury is a lot smarter than Dubois as well. That's why when Fury and Usyk do fight, it is sometimes a bit boring because it's a chess match. But when Dubois comes into it, Dubois don't come in for a chess match. He don't even know what fucking chess is. He comes in for a fight. And if Joshua wants to come in for a fight as well, you might as well lose that fight, because if two men come in for a fight, the one who's better at fighting wins. And usually that's Dubois, because he's a scrapper. He isn't one who wants to win a fight on a decision. And in fact, he usually wins by knockout. But yeah, Anthony Joshua, psychologically, he's had a downfall. And from that Andy Ruiz fight, he's never been the same. Mentally, he's always been a bit off for me. He's never really recovered from that fight. And before this fight, well, my hands up, I thought Joshua was going to win. But I was wrong, and most people were wrong. So I'm not too bothered about that. I've made some better boxing predictions. I've done some good predictions before, but Joshua, like most people, I was completely wrong. And praise to Daniel Dubois for winning. But put down in the comments what you think of Anthony Joshua's psyche. Do you think he should retire? Do you think he should fight on? What do you think would happen in a Daniel Dubois versus Usyk or Fury? Thanks for watching, boys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.